All right, it's going to work this time, I promise. So we're going to get started here on some Civic Hack-a-long. Basically how this works is like we do a bunch of work on a cool Civic project. Could be for 5 calls, could be for some other project. Turns out today there's actually a bunch of work that we need to do around this time of year that involves getting updated representative information together. We already did this for the House and the Senate and a bunch of other people. But another key part of who people call to affect legislation in their area is states, right? State level representatives. You have generally an upper and a lower house in your state, and just like the Senate and the House in Washington, only generally are represented by one person in the upper chamber and one person in the lower chamber in your state. And they're called different things, like they're the Assembly or the House or the Senate in whatever state you're in. But the point is that we still have to be able to find these people based on your location and figure out who represents you and then give you those people's phone number. Turns out there's already a project that does a lot of this for people, and it's called OpenStates, right? And OpenStates has this great open source tool that it uses to collect data from all these different legislative websites. And so it's not hugely manual process, but it still requires a bit of work for you to go in there and like edit, pull down all this new data, make sure it's correct, and then push it back up to them in a way that they can get it. So today we're going to edit up some stuff in OpenStates. If you want to help out here, this is at this URL. And basically there are a bunch of tasks on this GitHub about updating data for 2019. And let's see, this one was open like 21 days ago. And there's a bunch of people in there, and they're running through all these different tasks and helping people do running the scrapers that go out to the sites and grab some things for the sites, grab representative information from the sites, and then pull them down and push them back up into a format that OpenStates can recognize, and then OpenStates shares that API with everybody else and basically helps people look up their representatives on other platforms, right? So the civil services, which is the service we use on 5calls, uses OpenStates to grab its local state people. So we need to update OpenStates so that OpenStates can publish its new data, so civil services can update can pull their data through that, so that 5calls can have it on our front end, and you can call your representatives in your state legislature, right? So there's a couple different states that we can go through and do today that I looked at. A couple different state websites that have been updated. Then we're going to hack on some of this stuff today. And I thought it'd be nice to get out here and do it live because I spend a bunch of time doing this every day, and I do it by myself, and it's boring. So let's start here. I picked out a couple states that I thought were good. That would probably go relatively smoothly, maybe with a little bit of help. So we're going to start on Nevada first. I think that one is going to be good. I have their website up here. And from what I can tell, all these legislators here are up to date. Their term ends in 2020, and it shows the current assembly, the current session, which is the 80th session in Nevada. So there's two parts of the OpenStates stuff that we're going to do. The first part is the scraper. It goes out to the website for the Nevada Assembly, or rather the Nevada State Legislature, and grabs all of the data, all the new data that's in there. It grabs it as a certain format. And then what it does is it's going to pull it into a certain, what is it? Maybe it pulls it as JSON files. And then there's another tool that we use to grab it and transform it into YAML files, which I think is the thing that OpenStates actually uses to build their data on the back end and actually serve their API. So anyway, the point is that we need to do a bunch of different steps. And I don't actually know all these steps by heart. I literally just started doing this last week. So I'm going to follow along closely with the instructions. Having already done this once or twice, I'm relatively confident that we can get some of this stuff done. And here's OpenStates. Let's grab this one. So OpenStates repository is the one that's got all the scraper stuff in it. And one of them has some instructions in it. It's not this one, though. It must be this one. In people. People is the actual repository that has the people data inside of it. So, okay, here we go. Updating an entire site via scrape. Start a new branch for the work. We'll do that in a little bit because whatever. Scrape using OpenStates scrapers. I think I have this in the history here, so I'm just going to go ahead and give this a shot. So they have all their tools wrapped up in Docker here. And before I get too far here, actually, I'm going to post this shit to Twitter. Twitter, where are you? How am I going to get a URL for this? Maybe I should post it over here. Share. Copy link. Where are you, Twitter? Do I even have Twitter on this iPad? Oh, crap, I totally don't. Okay, well, we're going to do it on the phone then. Because, no thanks. Play that. Go all the way to the end. All the way to the live. YouTube. Dude. We're doing this. We're going to share the hell out of this shit. We're going to share it to Twitter. Yeah, let's do it. Cool. Hopefully that works. Brings people in. All right, we're going to update some scrapers now. So they have all their scraper stuff in Docker, which makes it super handy because you don't have to install a bunch of bullshit. And the nice part about this is that what we can do is run this command. So it's like run it. I'm pretty sure RM here is like get rid of the container state after you're done using it. It's not really important. We don't need to do it. But we're going to run the scrape command. OR here is I did Oregon previously. We're doing Nevada now, so we're going to do NV. People is the type of thing you're scraping. So it's a little bit confusing here, but if you go into the OpenStates repo and you look at like the, that's New York, we want this one. And you look at like the different files that they have here and the different scrapers that they have in the init Python thing. They've actually got a bunch of different things. They keep track of bills and other stuff like that they run more frequently. But the people scraper is in here too. So you have to like tell it to do one of these scraper types before it gets out there. So we're going to do the people one. -- scrape is like, don't insert it into some database that doesn't exist. Since we're not doing that part of it, the database is sort of the API side of things. We don't actually need to insert it into a database. We just want to scrape it. So let's try this. It's going to go out and be like, sorry, you don't have Docker running. And Docker's going to start up. That's really going to tax my CPU about as much as it can because now I'm running OBS and VS Code and Docker all at the same time. But Docker is going to start up here in just a moment. And then we're going to be able to run this. Come on, Docker, you can do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I've got a little iPad here that I'm watching the stream on in case anyone is going to come in and ask questions. But no one has asked any questions yet. Docker, come on. It's still doing its thing. It's still doing its startup thing. One of these days, it will be finished starting up. And then we are going to do that stuff. Whew, it's a pretty interesting stream so far, I got to say. We are waiting for Docker to start up, all on our stream together. There it goes. It's done. Let's do it. All right, so it is going to start the scraper. it found a bunch of new people, and now it goes through and it does a GET request for all of the legislator items that it finds. Let's go through and do that. It's this is not the slowest one I've seen, but also not the fastest one I've seen either. It actually has, it does everything in serial, so it'll wait until the last one completes before it does the next one, right? So it's basically dependent on how fast the legislature website is. And if we look at sort of what it's doing, look at the people scraper here. You can see it's got a bunch of different URLs that it's fetching here, and where is it getting this stuff from? Oh, it's actually, it can request it in JSON, and then it just pulls stuff out of the JSON, which is always nice when it can do that. A lot of the other times you'll see these scrapers and they have, they've got, what's it called, little like XPath HTML parsers in them. And so you actually are pulling stuff out of the HTML because they don't actually have an API behind them. This one, luckily, it has sort of JSON, so it's like semi-API, right? You probably can't like query it with like custom stuff and return a bunch of stuff at the same time, because that would be handy because we wouldn't have to do this gigantic thing. But instead, what we're going to do is just query them one by one, and the scraper automates all this stuff, so it's really, really quite easy. Let's get back on Twitter while this is working and see if we can get some people in here. Let's see. Scraping new reps from the NV. That's what I want, legislature. Oh, it's done. Legislature. Via open. Let's see, OpenStates. So they have a thing. Join in. Yay, fun. Okay. All right, what is it? It's like 2 o'clock Pacific. All right. So from that, we actually got a bunch of files, which we can see in OpenStates, data, NV. So all these membership files are basically each person that they pulled off of the site, right? Actually, the membership stuff is each of the individual committee membership stuff that they put together, I guess, and then the people items here are the other ones. So that's like a bunch of useless JSON, right? And so we need to take this and we need to transform it into something else. And so we go over to, if we look at the instructions again, it's like, okay, scrape data using OpenStates scrapers. Did that. Next step is run scripts to YAML against generated JSON data. This will populate the incoming directory. That is the next step. So I've got the OpenStates repo on this side, got the OpenStates people repo open on this side. This has got all the scripts in it, right? So if we look back a few lines here, we want to do to YAML, and we want to point it at the directory that we got it in before, which is the Nevada directory. So do that, and it's going to churn on that for a while, and it, despite saying absolutely nothing, did something. So let's get out of this. This is data in the OpenStates directory repo. So now in incoming, Nevada has a bunch of people. No organizations, but people. You can see they're actually like properly named now. And yeah, so it's sort of transformed them. It's turned it into a different format, something that we can read here. We can actually see one of these files here, right? So This has got a bunch of new URLs in it, newer URLs that have the new legislative session in it. And I don't know, maybe this is a new representative that wasn't there before. But there are also old representatives. We have to make sure to merge all these people together in a way that makes sense, right? So one of the contributors made this little script called make updates. And it basically tells you stats like this, which is like how many, or it merges them together. I messed with it so that it will tell me stats because I am not super great with Python. So I'm like, I don't really trust that this is doing the right thing. I need some more debugging here. So I wrote a bunch of stuff. This is actually the code that's down here that I commented out because sometimes I just wanted to output some stats on this shit. So if I'm going to be like make updates, it's got this thing where you've got to like edit the state abbreviation right here. And we'll have to edit the dates as well later. So given make updates, it's going to look through Washington, or rather Nevada, and it's going to be like 63 previous files. That's like old files that were in the last one. 63 new files. 42 from the previous session. That's 42 people who were in the previous session who were reelected. 21 who are new, and then 21 who retired or were defeated. You know, that's retiring, right? So that sounds good. We've got 63 previous files, 63 new files. Makes sense. Like gut check is correct, right? So the thing I like to do, so now I think we can do this whole thing. The thing I want to do though is I want to check on when the start of their new legislative session was, because that's when I tend to use the date for when people end and start, right? I think technically the old reps are still the old reps until the new legislature begins and everyone's sworn in, right? So that's February 4th, 2019, which we could update to. I ran into this with Washington, or not Washington, I don't know, one of the ones I did the other day, where if you set the begin date to the future, then the thing complains about it. So we're going to do the same hack that we did last time, which was change the end date. So the start date is 204 still, right? That was right, yeah. The start date down here, 204. Retire. And so we're going to set the retiring date or the end date of the previous roll to essentially the end of last year. That's 12/31. And then if we want to, we can make that change. We can make that change to like make it the official date, the real date later on. This is just because the linter will yell at us if we don't do that, right? All right, so we're going to run make updates again, and it's actually going to make those updates. And it is definitely going to break. Retire. Oh, no, we did that incorrectly. It's like we don't want to retire people in 2019. We want to retire people in 2018. What did it complain about? Got unexpected extra arguments. Oh, man. Okay, so I think it got through everything else except for the retiring people. Which means I had to do this last time too. I'm not like super great with Python, so I just sort of futz around until I get shit that works. And then this issue was, for some reason, this quick stuff, which I'm pretty sure is a repo to like turn Python commands into CLIs, like command line interfaces. But it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me. So I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to see if I can retire people like that. And it's going to be like retiring these people by moving their files from the people directory to the retired directory. And since we didn't do the other thing twice, it shouldn't matter. We should be fine. We're waiting for them to do that. That's only like 21 people, so it should be done relatively quickly. And we are done. almost done. Oh, crap. You know what? They probably retired everybody. I bet it retired everybody because it detected that everyone was old. Yep, 84 retiring. That's not what we wanted. Oh, garbage. Okay, so here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to reset that stuff, and we're just going to run those commands again, because git.co data, all the data in the data folder should just be the old one, because we messed it up. Cool. We basically just fixed that. But now we got to do the other things again, which is easy because we just did them. So let's actually remove this stuff that's in all the stuff that's in here. Was there nothing in here before? They didn't have a retired section before? That's weird. Okay, well, we can just do that then. Data md retired. So that got rid of that. It wasn't in Git, so we didn't have to fuss all that stuff. We do have to go back and do though, is do the 2YAML stuff, right? So that gave us all of our people data again, and now the next step is usually doing the merge stuff first, right? That merge incoming. Oh no, that's just the checker. So this is like a tool that they have too that's like, these people are probably the same. You should merge them manually. But we can just do this make updates thing, which will do the right thing for most people. All right, so we fixed the retire stuff, so we should just be able to run this entire thing again. First of all, let's just check the output to make sure we're good. Make updates, and it's going to be like, same stats we had before. Now we're going to be like, actually run this thing. Again, not a Python guy. Make updates. All right, now it's going to retire the right people. Only 21 of them, as opposed to all of them. You can see here our stats were correct. 21 retiring, yes. And that means it's only going to take a moment until it retires everybody. That is correct. Now, if we look at Git, we've got a bunch of new people here, 21 of them to be exact. We've got this new retired directory because apparently we didn't track people who were retired before. And then we have a bunch of edits on these existing people, right? So if we look at Aaron D. Ford, Aaron D. Ford right here. Oh, apparently he was not found. It's because his file has been moved around recently. OpenStates people. There we go. Found it that time. It looks like he's a new representative because he doesn't have an old role and a new role together. No, never mind. He was deleted because he was moved to retired. Yep, end date. That was the end date for us. Let's look at someone else who was modified. This Al Kramer guy was modified. Al Kramer. Yep. Where was he again? Just in people. It's interesting that it didn't add start dates and end dates to him. I guess that makes sense though, right? Here are the new people. They have start dates, but we don't know his start date because he was just in the system before. His person file was in the system for a while. So we got no idea what his start date is. Go away warnings. I don't want any of your Python extensions. All right, so now we have this mix of people here that are in the current legislature. We've got this list of retired people. And we're gonna do a couple spot checks here just because I didn't write the software and I wanna make sure that it's correct, which means going to the Nevada site and checking into, let's go to the assembly. Okay, this guy, he's in the lower, he's a new representative, his phone number is, oh, did they not scrape his phone number for some reason? Why is it? It's interesting that they have like a number marked cell in here. Like you'd call it and you'd get like their legislator's cell phone or something. I don't think that's how that works. At least I would hope it's not how it works. Okay. Anyway, the address is correct here. We're obviously pulling the right stuff. District 42. That's correct. Let's just go down here and check some more. Oh, I see. I got lucky on that one because it was near the top. It's all by first name here. Yep, that's correct. 225 North Rampart Boulevard. That's correct. District 37. That's correct. Okay, that looks pretty good. Those are both. This is a new person. That was a new person. Let's see if we can find an incumbent and see if we've changed their correct details here. So anyone without a start date is an incumbent. How do you spell this guy's last name? K-I-E-C-K. K-I-E-C-K. He might be in the Senate too, so not on this page. That's fine. We'll go back and check the Senate page anyway. Senate, K-I-E-C-K. That is him. Okay, so he is a, what did we say? He was a old rep, so he doesn't have a start date because we don't know what the start date was. Address is correct. Zip code's correct. He's got a, I don't know what WK is marking here for phone numbers. I mean, this is useful in the sense that like we're getting details about them, but if the point of this is to call them, then that's not going to be super helpful if we can't get phone numbers from them, right? WK. They all have different numbers in the legislative building, so I almost want to include that as their phone number in here. Because it seems like it makes more sense than not including a phone number at all, right? So if we look at the scraper, we're just gonna have to go through the scraper stuff again because we spot checked this and it was basically like not useful for people, right? And so if we look at, that's the make updates one, we don't want that. That's the retire one, we don't want that. This is the people scraper update. So phone here is in contact details. Phone. Look and see if it's got a 602 starting it. Phone text content here. So this is phone. Where are we getting phone from here? Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, this is using XPath. I don't know what I was thinking when I was talking about. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Sorry, I'm in Arizona. Not that one. You can see how this is confusing. This is the one we're looking for. So we're looking for phone in here. So phone is LCB phone in this JSON file. Let's actually look at the JSON file and figure out what it actually says. We can figure out what the JSON URL was. That might be handy. To do that, I'm going to go back to our scraper, which is over here. I'm going to check out one of these guys. And this is the API URL. This is the one that we actually want. And pop this guy open here. And figure out that it is an error. Why did that work before? Anyway, let's see, can we pull the JSON files out of this thing? Yeah, but it doesn't help if it's not going to be something that we can do repeatedly for everybody. An error has occurred. Oh, man. Hey, look, someone's tweeting. FiveCall's website is up 100% up to date with your new congressional representatives. It is, in fact. That's the truth. We did a lot of hard work on that last week. So we want to get one of these JSON files. I'm trying to figure out why we can't just grab that URL and throw it in there. It does say it's a GET request. Let's just try a random other one to make sure we're not totally crazy. Actually, let's do this instead. Let's do like, that's not how that works, okay. Seriously? None of those things work? That's garbage. I don't know any of my Unix commands more than the stuff that I just randomly use every once in a while. Oh, it's Safari being like, We don't want that. Maybe it's a maybe it is a different kind of request that we should be making here. What am I doing wrong here? That looks like the right request to me. Is there an API key that I need to use or something? It does not appear to be that way. Utils, garbage, garbage, garbage. Fetch the JSON used by the page, which is what we want to do. Okay, well maybe we can do the same thing. We can be like, give me this URL. Oh my god, Safari, you're driving me nuts. Safari just drops URLs that I throw into the thing. So now, if we look at the data that's been loaded by this page, let's go to the network here. We are looking for something that is, let's see, that's the document. We are looking for probably this guy. An error occurred trying to load the resource. Hey, that's sort of what happened to us too. So why did this work correctly? Headers. Response was actually okay on that one. It was not. That's just, I don't know, this garbage being garbage. Sizes. Why can't I preview this in here? It's because Safari is a bunch of garbage. Okay. I like Safari for browsing sometimes. Do not like it for doing web development. It is officially web development garbage. All right, so now we've got this loaded up in Chrome, which has a much better debugger, right? And we can see right in, let's see, which one is it? This one? This is our JSON for the representative that we were looking for, and I have no idea. They put a special header on here or something? Like, why can't we just get that with our browser? Request headers. It's got a cookie, but it should attach that automatically. I don't know. They're trying to, like, it's just like configured wrong, or they're trying to defeat scrapers or whatever. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's a real dumb thing to do. Let's see if maybe it just magically works in Chrome. Nope. All right, who cares? Can't sit there and do it all day. So let's grab this whole thing and throw it into code here and see what we got. We're gonna JSON that shit. Come on. Can I pretty print this or anything? Yeah. Oh well. I know I can do that in what's it called, our Sublime Text. So let's just do that instead. JSON. I don't want settings. There we go. What is the problem now? Yes, set syntax to JSON. Yes. Format. Pretty print JSON. No, is it like? I think. Did I have like a bad JSON format here or some bullshit? Okay, there we go. I had a bunch of extra quotes or backtext or some bullshit on there. All right, now what are we actually looking for here? If we go in here, we can see we're looking at LCB phone. Let's go back and figure out where LCB phone is. Okay, so LCB phone is this thing right here, 7012. That's this guy right here. Let's see what it shows up as on the main page. He's in the assembly. Steve. Is it the same one that we found here? 702, no. So it actually shows up as the cell number here. It's fine. It's not even the one that we're getting, which is fine. CB office. Oh, that's just the ring number. I was hoping that was going to be another phone number that was a predictable format that we could use. Unfortunately, no. Let's do. Let's find someone that we're not pulling in the right details for and figure out why we're not doing that. So this is our file full of people. Our binders full of people. Steve, this is Steve. Steve's got his phone number in here. He's also an incumbent representative. Let's see why Susie Martinez does not. She's got a cell number here, but she doesn't have a phone number here. All right, well, let's do the same thing we did before. We're going to go into Chrome, and we're going to, I actually don't need Steve anymore. And we're going to figure out why she doesn't have a phone number by grabbing this whole JSON blob here and putting it in here. And then doing pretty print JSON. I must have messed that up by adding quotes myself. Yeah, so no LCB phone here, which means no phone number that we can pull in through the JSON, which is garbage. So sometimes you come into this stuff where representatives have websites, or they don't have websites, or they're listed on some sort of huge list, but they're not listed, or they don't have like a phone number, they don't have like an office number or something like that. And that is one of these cases here where since their session doesn't even start until the 4th of February, there's no reason for them to know all of this information before then. So we're a little bit screwed there on the new representatives. So that's going to be 21 people who don't have phone numbers on the Nevada state side of things until, you know, as we get closer to February when they start showing up with that stuff. Yeah, that sucks. I guess we should just pull it in anyway. We'll start a PR, and then we will update it when that stuff gets updated. And we can comment on all the start date and end date stuff because that's something that happens only when we want sessions to roll over. Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right, so let's finish up this and do this PR. But before we do that, it is time for the claw break. Back in a minute. And we're back. What claw break? Crown raspberry. Let's see what we got going on Twitter. I think this will be good. We will finish up the whole process, adding the files, starting a PR. We'll note in the PR that some of them don't have their new updated phone numbers, and then we'll run it again later when they're updated. And that way everybody in the project will be informed about what is going on, right? So, given that we did that, let's look at what these files look like now. New people, retired people, mix of modified people and deleted people. And here, I have not been messing with the organizations. I actually don't even know what they look like right now, because that is a whole other thing. Organizations sort of depend on a bunch of other data being up to date and us having like a long history of information about who's been in the legislature and who hasn't. And most of this stuff just doesn't have that. It has like, we just pull like what the current state of it is, right? And new people and old people, and it was sort of assumed that if we had some old people before and there are some new people, then that's like the state of the world, right? Like these are all the people in the new legislature, because it's a scraper and it's sort of dumb and it just sort of does that. Anyway, let us move this along a little bit and add this data in. So we're going to add data envy. This is the people directory, which is what we want. Yeah, so the scraper is that one. People is this one. People. We're going to add all the changes we made to people, because I think that that's fair. I don't think there's anything we want to keep out of there. Organization stuff, as I mentioned, we're not going to update at the moment. Git add data envy. We're going to do the retired stuff because this is the first time we'll have a list of retired people in Nevada. And that is all the changes that we want to push here. So, again, the organization stuff is something that I'm not super concerned with. Not staged for commit, that's correct, that's what we want. We're going to create a new branch on this guy. It's going to be called me NV 2019. We got that. And now we've got everything staged that we want to push up. Renames, which are the retired people, modified files, new files. We make a note of that. It's going to be updated and NV for 2019. New representatives don't yet have phones listed in the scraped, it's not really scraped, JSON. So that's going to be our commit. We're going to push this up to my own fork of this. So this is origin, Niconel, NV 2019. And then GitHub is going to be like, do you want to create a pull request? Click on this link. And we're going to do that. Okay. Opens pull request between my repository and that one. And then we should note here two things. What we were supposed to do before that, not before that necessarily, but at a similar time to that, is run this linting step. That's going to tell us whether or not we have any errors in here. So we're going to run scripts lint for NV and display a summary. And it's going to be like, ooh, that's very interesting. That gave us, basically everything is okay except for one person has a comma in their name, it looks like. So we'll have to manually fix that guy. Let's see, what's his name? Dallas? Last name Dallas? This guy here, he's got 2 dashes in his thing too. Name Dallas J.D. Harris. Okay, so what does the actual format of that look like? Try to come up with what this guy's actual first name is. Let's just look on the site. I have a feeling one of the parsers here sort of messed this up. This is the assembly. He must be in the Senate. Home. Home. Back to the Senate. Crap. Come on. The site is slow. You can tell why the scraper took a little bit of time. So his name is... Okay. All right. I get it. Dallas Harris. JD. As in, I don't know what, I mean, it's a law degree of some sort, but I'm not familiar with it, so whatever. We're just going to ditch it. This is obviously like destroyed it, right? But his name is Dallas Harris. And the file name is actually messed up too, so we're going to change that too. To just Dallas Harris. Because in general, I don't think file name should have, what is that? An honorific in it. All right, everything else looks good there. Let's run the linter again. And it says, hooray, yes, you're good. I actually don't know what this 12 rules missing ID is, but it seems like it's in the committee stuff, and we're not actually dealing with the committee stuff. So we're good there. All right, so we deleted JD Harris, and we added the regular Dallas Harris items. We're going to do NV people. I should just copy this. I don't know why I'm so lazy. I'm trying to type it out. Add that guy. Add this deletion. Oof. What happened there? Now we should have just that one rename. Delete it. Well, I guess Git's not quite smart enough to call it a rename. And we're going to have that. Check that in as fixed enter stake per 4. And we'll push that up to our branch. And then back to GitHub, where we've been creating of 12/31/2018. It's the legislative session doesn't start until 4. New representatives don't have phones listed in script JSON. Reps have end dates. We should paste the results of the linter in here. Not that Circle CI doesn't do it for us, but it's always nice to let people know that you did the thing that they asked you to do in GitHub. Right? Let me know if you want to hold off on this request until they update the JSONs with phone numbers. All right, so that was our whole process for making a pull request for updated representative information in OpenStates. Let's see, I'll mark that off my list. I have a couple other places that have been updated recently too. Let's see how long we've been going with this. I might do another one. Whoa, that's trippy. YouTube. Oh great, you're gonna see all my YouTube recommendations now, which is just the most embarrassing thing in the world. No, don't look. God, it is terrible, isn't it? Man, my YouTube recommendations are trash. All right, this is where we are. How long have we been going? Are you going to tell me how long we've been going? You're going to make me look it up myself? Fine. I'll look at when we didn't post that tweet when we started. We posted that tweet at 46 minutes ago. Crap, we've been doing this for 45 minutes already. All right, I think it's probably good for now. I'm going to do another one of these, but I'm going to do it faster and by myself. But we'll do one of these again soon. Maybe another one of these guys, maybe some work on some 5-call stuff. Basically whatever comes up. I want to do these 2 or 3 times a week, which should be fun and give people a better insight into how 5-calls works, how Civic Tech works, how you can contribute to more Civic Tech projects. There are all these people who know so much more about Python than I do and all this other bullshit, can do this so much faster than I can, and can probably improve the scrapers as opposed to me just sort of fussing through it and deleting lines until it works. But people don't know that they can get involved, right? People think that you just you do your tech thing and then other people do Civic Tech things and they don't really cross it all, right? But it's super easy to get involved. The OpenStates stuff is one of those things where it's really, really easy to get involved because the instructions are right there, and it's something that needs to happen regularly. So I'm going to continue doing these things so that we have a little more visibility into what people are doing, and hopefully more people help out on 5-calls, on OpenStates, on civil services, on a bunch of other open source projects that can help people interact with their government better. Great. See you next time.